2.07 kilometers of tunnel now run beneath the floor of the Arabian Sea. Above it, 22 million people are crammed onto a narrow peninsula with roads that have barely changed since the British left. India's answer: build a new highway straight through the ocean. Mumbai is one of the most densely populated cities on Earth. Its geography is its curse, a thin finger of land squeezed between the sea and the mainland, with nowhere left to expand. For decades, commuters have lost hours every single day to congestion that costs the local economy billions. Whilst other cities built outwards, Mumbai had only one direction left: the sea. In 2009, the Bandra-Worli Sea Link proved it could be done, a cable-stayed bridge gliding over the water, slashing a journey that once took 60 minutes down to 10. But here's what most people miss. That bridge was never the destination, it was the prototype. The Mumbai Coastal Road is its successor, a far more ambitious attempt to reclaim land, tunnel under the seabed, and stitch an entire coastline together into one continuous highway. And the engineering required to build it had never been attempted in India before. Before a single lane could be laid, engineers had to do something extraordinary. They had to manufacture land, 111 hectares of it claimed directly from the Arabian Sea. To put that in perspective, that is the equivalent of roughly 155 football pitches conjured out of open water. The process is brutally precise. First, sheet piling, vast steel walls driven into the seabed to hold back the ocean. Then dredging, millions of tons of sand and rock pumped in to raise the new ground above the waterline. Finally, rock armor, enormous boulders placed along the edge to absorb the relentless force of the waves. But here's the detail that reveals the ambition. The new coastline wasn't just dumped into the sea at random. Its geometry was deliberately engineered, shaped to create new marine habitat alongside the road itself, with promenades and green space built on top. Think about that for a second. A road designed to give land back to the public, not just take it from the ocean. And it came at a cost. This is where the story turns. The reclamation displaced traditional fishing communities whose families had worked these waters for generations. Environmental groups warned of destroyed habitats and altered tidal patterns. The project was dragged before the High Court in a series of petitions that threatened to halt it entirely. Supporters called it essential infrastructure. Critics called it a seizure of the commons. Both, in their own way, were right. Because every mega-project of this scale forces the same uncomfortable question: who pays the price for progress and who gets to enjoy it? The reclaimed land solved one problem, but the most sensitive stretch of coastline near Priyadarshini Park couldn't be built over, so engineers went under it. Beneath the seabed, they bored India's first undersea road tunnels, twin tubes, each 2.07 kilometers long. This had never been done in the country before, and the conditions were punishing. Tunneling below sea level means fighting water pressure that never relents. Mumbai's soft, shifting geology offered none of the solid rock that makes tunneling predictable. One mistake, one breach, and the Arabian Sea would flood the bore in hours. But here's what most people miss about tunneling at this depth. The real enemy isn't the water, it's the ground itself, moving. As the boring machine grinds forward, it carves out an enormous volume of earth, and that displacement wants to travel upward, toward the seabed, toward the surface. Manage it wrong, and the ground above collapses inward. The solution was a layered defense. The tunnel bore is over 12 meters in diameter, one of the largest ever driven in India, lined with reinforced concrete segments locked into place within seconds of being cut. Behind them, waterproofing systems seal out the sea entirely. And because a tunnel beneath the ocean cannot simply open a window, a dedicated ventilation system pushes fresh air through the bore and extracts exhaust with banks of jet fans engineered to clear smoke in the event of a fire. Every system redundant, every tolerance measured in millimeters. This is not just a tunnel, it is a sealed, breathing machine running beneath the sea. Before we get to the bridges that tie this entire highway together, and the moment Mumbai finally drove through it, if deep dive engineering content like this is what you're after, subscribe now. we break down the world's most extraordinary megaprojects every single week. Above the surface, the coastal road rises onto elevated sections, sweeping bridges that carry the highway over the water where tunneling wasn't needed. And here, the engineers solved the puzzle that makes the whole project work. They connected it directly to the existing Bandra sea link, fusing old infrastructure and new into a single continuous seaside corridor running along Mumbai's western edge. But building in the Arabian Sea brings a threat that inland projects never face: cyclones. The exposed structures had to be engineered to withstand the ferocious winds and storm surges that batter this coastline, with foundations driven deep enough to resist the constant assault of saltwater corrosion. Whilst the bridges had to protect the marine environment beneath them, limiting disruption to the very ecosystem the reclamation had reshaped. Every span is a compromise between speed, safety, and the sea. And then, the moment of truth. Phase 1 opened to the public, and the numbers were immediate. A commute that once swallowed 45 minutes through choked city streets collapsed to a fraction of that time. The road did exactly what it promised. It gave Mumbai back its most precious resource: time. But here's the bigger picture. Phase 1 is only the beginning. A northward extension is already planned, designed to push the corridor further up the coast and eventually ring the city in fast-flowing highway. This was never about a single road. It is part of a long-term blueprint to fundamentally re-engineer how one of the world's great megacities moves, breathes, and grows. Mumbai's Coastal Road is more than a highway. It is a statement of intent, proof that India is willing to reclaim land, tunnel beneath oceans, and bend its own geography to meet the future head-on. Whether it arrives fully on time, history tells us to temper our expectations. But whether Mumbai needed it, the traffic data was never in doubt. If you want to see the next Indian mega project pushing the limits of what engineering can achieve, that documentary is coming next. Subscribe, and you won't miss it.